Sue Bird, one of the greatest point guards in the WNBA of all time, had a lot of great things to say about Caitlin Clark going further this season, the 2024 WNBA season. If you guys don't know, Sue Bird is considered one of the greatest point guards of all time, and she's been a big advocate and big fan of Caitlin Clark since she was in college playing in Iowa, and now in the pros. She's been a big advocate for Caitlin Clark going forward and had a lot of great things to say about Caitlin Clark and how much better she's honestly has gotten better since the beginning of the season. And this is a clip of Sue Bird talking about Caitlin Clark from her podcast.
And that's where you brought up the fever. I think what I've learned in my WNBA experience is pace of play trumps physicality, it trumps size, it can trump experience, because a lot of times when you're experienced, it's really like code word for your veteran, which is code word for your old.
I mean, she does have a point there. Like, the Indiana Fever are one of the best teams that like play with a lot of high pace, like really fast pace. Like, after the Indiana Fever score, they run back on defense like they're there, you know what I mean? They waste no time. Like on defense, when they get a rebound, they pass the ball to Caitlin Clark. She's literally pushing the floor, going 100 miles an hour, fast, quick pace, their whole team. So I do understand what she's saying from that aspect, is that the pace of play does matter in the WNBA. And the Indiana Fever have one of the highest paces in the WNBA this season. A lot of other teams are much older in the league and they don't move as fast, or their pace of play is much slower than the Indiana Fever. Another great thing for the Indiana Fever going forward is that if they can honestly just keep the pace of play that they're playing with now, they'll honestly be set, and they honestly could beat any other team in the WNBA just by their pace of play, because the faster they are, the more quality shots that they're going to get off. The defense honestly won't be ready for them since they're much quicker. So that's honestly a great point from Sue Bird, and I 100% agree. And that's honestly what the Indiana Fever have been doing on this 2-game win streak against the Seattle Storms and the Phoenix Mercury.
So I feel like, I know that's why you guys were so good for those years. 2018 and 2020, the years we won, that was our whole mantra, was pace. And what I see in Caitlin, what I see in Kelsey Mitchell, they're just like ramming it down people's throats, and it's really hard. It can have your head spinning.
What Sue Bird said right there, I mean, it's really hard. She knows from experience because she won the WNBA championship back-to-back in 2018 and 2019. And she's basically comparing her teams to Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark's team this season. So she's basically saying without saying that the Indiana Fever have a great chance to win the WNBA championship this season just by the way they play the game, the way they hustle, their pace of play compared to other WNBA teams. So this is honestly another great statement, and I honestly do believe what Sue Bird is saying, because she is one of the greatest point guards in the WNBA. It's great to see what she's saying, and honestly, I mean, the Indiana Fever with their pace of play and how they move the ball, that's honestly how they've been winning recently. So if they can honestly just keep this up every single game for the rest of the season, including the playoffs, we're going to be seeing a lot of great things from the Indiana Fever in the playoffs this season.
So yeah, as I mentioned, Kelsey Mitchell's balling, Caitlin continuing to impress, and she's going to break records nonstop for the next couple of years. Yeah. It's just going to be a constant record break. Yeah. The only thing that I find most interesting is at the start of the season, everybody had their panties in a twist over Caitlin getting picked up full court and Caitlin being denied. And I think what I'm not surprised by is naturally during a WNBA season, teams and players, you start to get a little tired. You're kind of in like the doldrums of the every day or every other day is a game, and it's hard to keep that discipline to guard a player like that. So I'm not surprised it dropped off. But what do you know? She's no longer getting picked up full court in the ways that we like teased Ari McDonald for when she did it after a free throw, when she still had another free throw. Mm-hmm. But what you're seeing is Caitlin now is able to push the ball up the floor. She's able to hit those get-ahead passes. Yeah. And so I won't be surprised if as the season gets later into like playoff runs, if you start to see teams do more, and you're definitely going to see it in the playoffs. Yeah.
Like what she's saying, at the beginning of the season, literally, they were full court pressing Caitlin Clark. They were on her. They really wouldn't even let her dribble and anything. Like, they literally were on her, full court pressing. But then later in the season, as you expect, the more games you play and everything, they stopped doing all that. And Caitlin started flourishing after the Indiana Fever started off with a 1-8 record. After that, Caitlin Clark started just flourishing for the rest of the season. And has honestly gotten better and better. That's honestly a great thing that they were doing at the Caitlin Clark in the beginning of the season, because that honestly just made Caitlin Clark much better, because she's seen every defense this season so far throughout the WNBA season. Full court presses, she's seen everything. So the way she's playing now after the Olympic break, having some rest and after studying what the defenses gives you and what they don't, this is why she's playing so much more better after the Olympic break, because she's seen every single defense in the beginning of the season. This will only make her better going forward for the playoffs in the Indiana Fever.
But everybody, that's why you had to pick Caitlin up full court. Yeah. This is why. The numbers she's putting up now, like, this is why.
Now she broke the record.
Yeah, everyone was like mad about it. I was like, I don't get it. That would be like, I don't even know what it would be like. It'd be like letting Kevin Durant shoot pull-ups all day. It's like, no.
Can't do it, y'all.
Yeah, I just, yeah.
She's
I don't
also
know why
like figuring it out and settling in.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, like what she said. I mean, you can't just like leave her open, bro. She is like Kevin Durant. Like, she's like Steph Curry, honestly. The way Caitlin Clark plays, just pulls up from the parking lot like it's simple. Like, legit simple. Compared to any other WNBA player, they don't have the shooting range that like Caitlin Clark has. She's 100% right on that one, man. Caitlin Clark has honestly been doing her thing. She's been getting better throughout the season. And it's great to see that a WNBA legend like Sue Bird can see this.
Got a little rest.
Oh, another thing, by the way, I never thought Caitlin wasn't strong. That was actually something I noticed in college. Like, she had a strength about her. Will she get stronger, and will that help her? Yeah. I think it was more just getting used to the hits and the physicality and like what refs are going to call, what they're not going to call. And you've seen her adjust in that way too. Like, she got blocked pretty bad by Ezzy, took a little bit of a splat. And like, yeah, I'm sure she was a little pissed, but she kind of got up, took the lick, and got back.
Yeah.
You know, whereas earlier in the season, I think it would have impacted her a little bit more. So
that's a great thing what she said right there, because earlier in the season, you know, she's been getting like blocked and stuff, but recently she's been using her body more, using post-up fadeaways and stuff. And these are actually some of the moves that she used to do in Iowa in college. She used to post up a lot, hit a lot of bank shots, post up, put her body into the defender, drive in on him, lay, like literally drive in, use her body. And that's honestly what she's been doing more for the Indiana Fever going forward. She's been using more of her body to gain contact and get and ones and get three-point play more and more recently. So it's great to see what she's been doing, and it's great to see that Sue Bird, a WNBA legend, can see Caitlin Clark's impact and how much she's going to keep growing going forward. It's honestly great to see that. As we got to look in the standings right now, Indiana Fever are the 7th seed with 13 wins, 2 games behind the Phoenix Mercury. So I honestly expect the Indiana Fever can honestly win out maybe the rest of the season. They could possibly get that 6th seed, but we'll see what happens. I have my faith in Caitlin Clark, just how Sue Bird has her faith in Caitlin Clark. And we're going to see what happens going forward. What do you guys think down in the comments below about Sue Bird's takes on Caitlin Clark and everything? She's a generational talent, as we guys can see, but what do you guys think down in the comments below about what Sue Bird had to say about Caitlin Clark?